Now reconvene to the regular meeting for the Board of Education at 7 p.m. with Blair, Cruz, Gagne, Schaefer, and not present. And before we begin, please silence all your electronic equipments. These proceedings are recorded and may capture images and sounds of those present at the meeting. Pat?
The board met in closed session from 4:25 to 6:45 regarding conference with legal counsel, existing and anticipated litigation, conference with legal counsel, real property negotiators, a student expulsion, public employee appointment, junior high school assistant principal, conference with labor negotiators, ACT and CSCA, and public employee discipline dismissal release.
Leading the Pledge of Allegiance tonight is...
The board voted to accept the settlement agreement and release between district and classified employee number 24784 pursuant to the terms of the agreement. Classified employee 24784 will resign effective April 30th, 2019 by a unanimous vote of 5-0 with Cruz, Gagne, Blair, Schaefer, and Na voting yes. Voted to appoint Catherine Janal as assistant principal at Cal Aero Preserve Academy K-8 effective date January 22nd, 2019 by a unanimous vote of 5-0 with Cruz, Gagne, Blair, Schaefer, and Na voting yes. And the board took action to rescind the direction given to legal counsel on August 1st, 2018 to file a writ petition to the United States Supreme Court for a review of the Ninth Circuit Court ruling and cease any further litigation in the matter involving the Freedom from Religion Foundation lawsuit. This includes any filing of petitioning for cert with the U.S. Supreme Court. On a motion by Irene Hernandez-Blair, seconded by Christina Gagne, with a vote of Blair, Schaefer, Gagne voting yes, and Cruz and Na voting no. No further action was taken, which requires public disclosure.
Leading the Pledge of Allegiance tonight is Bob Nelson.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We are now at Student Showcase. Let us give warm welcome to the Townsend Junior High School Band. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent and school board meeting members. This is the Townsend Junior High School Choir Chime Ensemble. I'm the band director at Townsend, Mrs. Ann Rutt, and we're very pleased to be here performing for you tonight. We invite you, if you're sitting behind any of the student performers and you want to stand up and move to the sides, that would be wonderful. We have some pieces for you tonight. We'll be playing Edelweiss from The Sound of Music. We'll also be playing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, very apropos for the weather we've been having, and ending with Chim Chim Cheree. We have a student who couldn't make it tonight. She's not feeling well, so I'll be substituting. We hope you enjoy. I'll share with you that this is not our entire band program. This is the group that fits in the boardroom. But we're happy to play for you because it's also our quietest group. We have 116-piece marching band and color guard, jazz band, drum line, the whole thing. So these kids work really hard. Most of them are in almost all of those groups. On top of that, they seek out ways to challenge themselves individually. We have students that are doing the district honor bands, the county honor band, even one student that made the All Southern California Jazz honor band. So if you're doing an honor band, go ahead and give a little wave, guys. My honor band guys. Parents of children members, you can help contact the books and the tables. Chambers, and let you guys get back to it. Thank you so much.
Dr. Enfield, do they want a group picture? Did you want a picture?
Group picture? Group picture.
Where are the parents? Hey, did the parents take off already?
Did who?
The parents took off, huh?
Who?
The parents. They all did?
Yeah.
Oh, they were going to say some nice things to them.
They want to get out.
Well, they were out fast. That's fast. Oh, thank you.
Next, Dr. Park, will you provide the evening's only presentation?
Thank you. President Na, members of the board, Superintendent Enfield, Cabinet, and community. We have our board presentation on the Local Control and Accountability Plan. It will be our third update this year. Chino Valley has 3 LCAP goals, which are aligned to the required 8 state priorities. California's accountability system is based on the performance relative to these 8 state priorities and is reported out to the public on the California School Dashboard. Our report this evening will be on the College and Career Indicator, also known as the CCI. The CCI is a state metric used to measure progress for State Priority 8, which are student outcomes in a broad course of study. The CCI is calculated using various college and career measures that evaluate students' preparedness for college or career. We will also provide the board on a local report for our students and our efforts in preparing them for success beyond graduation. Like the calculations to the academic indicator, which were presented at the last board meeting, there's been significant changes to the calculations to the College and Career Indicator. The CCI used to be a measure to evaluate 3 state priorities. It is now a metric to solely evaluate State Priority 8. The data on the 2018 school dashboard not only includes the data from our students who participated on the Smarter, Balanced, Summative Assessment, it also includes our students who took the CAW, which is the California Alternate Assessment, which is an exam for students with significant cognitive delays. Along with the results from our comprehensive high schools, it also includes data from our alternative schools. There are now 7 pathways for a high school student to demonstrate prepared status. As recent as November 2018, our State Board of Education made some changes and approved cut scores. And so for the first time tonight, you will see high school, college, and career readiness performance reflected on 5x5 placement charts and also on color gauges. At this time, I'd like to invite up Dr. Tracy Freed, who is our Director of Assessment and Instructional Technology, who will be reviewing our performance on the College and Career Indicator.
To calculate the CCI, a student is assigned one of 3 levels: prepared, approaching, and not prepared. In the 2018 class, a cohort, 48.4% of our students were in the prepared status, 19.6% in approaching prepared, and 32% not prepared. There are 7 ways students can meet prepared status on the College and Career Indicator. Because students can meet more than one measure to demonstrate prepared status, the percent of students meeting the various options will reflect duplicate counts. In all 7 ways, it requires students to graduate with a standard diploma at a high school and meet another set of criteria. 17.3% of the 2018 graduating cohort achieved prepared status with option 1 by completing a career technical education or CTE pathway, taking 2 to 3 courses specializing in a career industry sector with a C- or better, and one of the following: earning a level 3 on the Smarter, Balanced, Summative, ELA, or math, and level 2 in the other subject area, or 1 semester of dual enrollment, which means students took a college level course and minimally earned college credit, in some cases high school credit. 67.2% of students met prepared status by earning standard MET on the Smarter, Balanced, Summative assessments in both ELA and math. We didn't have any students meet prepared status via option 3 or completion of 2 semesters of dual enrollment with a grade of C- or better. In the 2018 graduating cohort, 113 students completed one semester of dual enrollment courses, but not two. We are working on this by opening up dual enrollment to all grades, 9 through 12, and conducting high school roadshows with staff to promote dual enrollment. 43% of prepared graduates met that status through option 4 by earning a score of 3 or higher on 2 AP exams or a score of 4 on 2 baccalaureate exams. At this time, CVUSD does not have an IB program. Most of our students, 87.1%, met prepared status through option 5, which is completion of courses that meet UC or CSU A through G criteria, with each letter of the A through G representing a different discipline and the number of years required. For example, A is 2 years of history social science, and B is 4 years of English. And one of the following: CTE pathway completion, at least a 3 on ELA or math and a 2 on the other subject area, 1 semester of dual enrollment, or a score of 3 on 1 AP exam. Option 6 is brand new to the 2018 dashboard. With this option, students earn the state seal of biliteracy, demonstrating proficiency in a language other than English, and they must achieve standard met on the state exam in ELA. We had 3.5% of our students meet prepared status via option 6. Also brand new in 2018 was option 7. We had no students meet prepared status through option 7 because Chino Valley Unified does not currently offer a JROTC program. A summary of our CCI performance results are reflected here on the 5x5 placement chart. The colors represent performance. Red is the lowest, green being the goal for all schools, and blue representing the highest level. CVUSD is on yellow. 3 of our high schools in green, 1 high school in orange, and 2 of our alternative high schools in red. CVUSD, again, for all students is in the yellow performance category. 3 student groups in green and blue. 3 student groups in yellow. 6 student groups in orange. And our students with disabilities in red. Here we see the same information reflected, now this time on color gauges. A second way performance is displayed. In comparing our CVUSD College and Career Indicator performance to the state, we surpassed the state by over 6%. At this time, Dr. Rodriguez, our Director of Secondary Curriculum and Instruction, will add to our progress on the CCI, looking at our own local metrics.
Thank you. So locally, there are several data points that we look at to ensure that we're preparing students for both college and career after they leave Chino Valley Unified School District. The first set of data we're going to look at are our A through G rate and our graduation rate. As you can see, from 2017 to 2018, we did see an increase in overall graduation rate. And in looking at the percentage of those graduates that met A through G that Dr. Freed mentioned, you see that we had an even larger increase, exactly 7% between 2016 and 2017. Hand in hand with meeting those minimum qualifications for the University of California and the California State University are the percentage of students who take advanced placement courses as well as exams. 2 local measures that help us track the overall number of exams taken are the ones that are scored 3 or higher. And as you can see, well, by the way, a 3 or higher, which is a minimum score a university or a college will accept in order to provide credit. And in 2018, we saw a nearly 3% increase between the previous year. Additionally, when we unduplicate those numbers and we look just at students who scored 3 or higher, we see a nearly 4% increase from 2017 to 2018. In 2018, 88.54% of our graduates took the SAT at some point in their high school career. This was a large increase from the class of 2017 that had an 81.5% rate. And our students, when they take the SAT exam, provide us another measure of academic success. So as part of that, part of our participation in the SAT School Day program, we have benchmark scores. Benchmarks are just another, the SAT benchmark is just another indicator of college readiness. And so you see, we're able to see that in 2018, 62% of our students met the benchmark for ELA and nearly 40% for math. As you can see in the chart, our 11th graders far outpaced not only the state, but the nation, and that's in the total column right there, as far as the percentage of students that are college ready based on that SAT benchmark. So to further prepare our students for life beyond high school, Chino Valley Unified has made career technical education a priority. Slide 21 illustrates the percentage of students overall and at each site that are enrolled in CTE courses. And overall, these are the CTE courses, these are the complete CTE pathways that we offer. CTE recognizes 15 industry sectors. In our district, we offer 16 complete pathways that Dr. Freed mentioned, 16 complete pathways in 10 of those industry sectors. This is an increase of 10 pathways between 2016 and 2018. The newest pathways are asterisked up there in emergency response, agricultural mechanics, and engineering design. And finally, I like this slide because it provides us a nice overview of those district-wide initiatives that help us ensure that we're preparing our students for life beyond graduation. So in addition to CTE, we continue to invest in promoting college awareness. We have not only college tours, but we also have college nights at our high schools as well as our junior high schools. AVID, or Advancement via Individual Determination, is a nationwide program that we have at 14 of our schools across the district. It is geared towards students who are going to be the first in their family to attend college. So that program continues to grow. Every year we have about 150 students who graduate as AVID students, and of those 150 students, last year 95% of them applied to a 4-year college, which is the whole goal of AVID. In addition to that, we increased up to 71% of those students by the time they are in 12th grade, they take at least one AP course, which again is another goal of AVID. Speaking of advanced placement, we continue to expand our advanced placement offerings. We increased in 18-19 to over 200 advanced placement sections across all of our high schools. That's up from 174 the previous year. And currently, we continue to offer more and more advanced placement courses. We just added 3 more this past year. We have advanced placement human geography, advanced placement comparative politics and government and politics, and then we also have a new advanced placement seminar course. In addition to that, as Dr. Freed mentioned, we continue to improve practices and procedures to ensure that students have an opportunity to earn college credit while they're still in high school. Our intervention counselors are amazing. They continue to work with our most at-risk students and kind of guide them through all of the opportunities that high school has to offer. And in fact, in the next square, sometimes the intervention counselor is the first person that points those students towards one of those very important assessments, the PSAT or the SAT, that we offer as part of our SAT school program at no cost to all of our students, grades 8 through 12. And then the California College and Guidance Initiative, or the CCGI, is an online platform. Students can explore not only some career options, but some college options that they have. In addition to that, they can apply directly to California Community College or to the California State University, as well as financial aid, all from the same page, essentially. So with that, it's our presentation.
Mr. Schaefer?
First, I'd like to thank staff for the presentation. I know it takes a lot of time putting this stuff together, and there's a million and one other things you could be doing, so I appreciate you guys taking the time. A couple of quick questions. I'm assuming that the CET pathways are including ROP courses, or we use ROP as a vehicle to help assess this or reach our goal?
Yeah, we're very fortunate. We enjoy a lot of district CTE courses as well as ROP courses. So some pathways are composed of both.
Okay. Question on page 8, where it's option 3 of 7. You said we had 113 students complete one semester. Is the reason they didn't complete the second semester is they were using that as their other option for option 5? Where they were using the one semester as their other requirement? Or what was the reason that we had 113 do the one semester, but none of them went on to the second semester?
The dual enrollment in our district is actually fairly new, and the program itself, we're actually a leader in dual enrollment compared to school districts in Orange County and also our surroundings. So with the newness of the program, our students have only really had an opportunity to enroll in one. But over
they were
the
able to
years,
use that as number C on option 5, is that correct? If they needed to? And that would be on page 10?
yes, that's correct.
And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Okay, Ms. Blair?
On pages 21 and 22, the college and career metrics. It's exciting to see Don Lugo and Buena Vista with such high enrollment. But in looking at page 22, Don Lugo offers 7 pathways. Chino High School and Chino Hills High School offer 4, and Ayala only offers 3. Why is there such a discrepancy between our 4 high schools? And it's great that Buena Vista, with only 1 pathway, has 48% enrollment. That's fantastic. But do we not expect that all the high schools should have 7, or is there even a minimum?
You know, it really boils down to any class that we offer on any of the campuses or programs. It really boils down to interest. How can we fill those classes, as well as continue to build pathways? So a large part of it has to do interest. If you notice also, when you start a pathway, for example, and you're well represented in an industry sector like agriculture over at Don Lugo, you're able to build many more pathways onto that. Whereas if you don't have so many industry sectors on a campus, or you spread them out too thin, it's challenging. But again, interest, and then depending on the industry sector, being able to build within that.
So how do we gauge the interest? Something goes out to the student body asking them if they'd be interested in a pathway, and then with that information is how the decision is made?
Yeah, federal, so a lot of the funding streams that we have actually require that we work with our local labor boards, and we do through Baldy View ROP, to first of all gauge whether or not that we're providing a program that is in a high, what they call a high wage paying, high interest sector. So that's our first step. Then we go to the high schools to determine whether or not there's a good clientele for that particular sector. So it takes a couple of years, and like I said, we've built 10 pathways over the last 2 years, based on those relationships and that data collection that we do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board members? No?
Me,
Mr. Cruz?
yeah, this is just an observation, so don't answer. You know, when it comes to these new tests, I mean, they need to adapt when they're first introduced, so there might be some glitches. And, when we discuss about the call which is significant cognitive disabilities. And when we look at students with disabilities, it's under the red. It may have account because of the new test. And when we look at schools such as Boys Republic, Buena Vista, and Chino Valley, and we also see, it's good that these tests might be, as they progress, the scores will get better and better. So that's what I observe. But I do observe it's quite interesting. At Orange, you have English learners, foster youth, homeless, and white. And probably Buena Vista probably has a high foster youth. So that's quite, it's observation. Slide 18. If we look at slide 18, there isn't data for A through G. And there is comparison to 17 and 18. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, the 2018 data has not been certified and published, so it's not yet available to the public.
Okay. And then page 23, this is a fantastic program. When you're dealing with AVID, from 92% from 16-17 to 95% 17-18, they apply to a 4-year college. That is a massive success rate. And that is amazing. So, good job.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment too. I'd just like to thank all you guys and spending so many hours and looking into our children's interests. And I think it's good that we're taking an advice from local labor board as to what type of pathways our students should take for local economy. But recently I have watched a program talk about country of Finland, where their whole economy had been struggling, but because of their youth, where now the university students are able to send satellites out in space because of a support from adults, where the kids would have a drone club, self-automation club, where they could create little things move automatically, and spur the interest among students to as their future job market could be globally. I think we have many students who has high talents, so let's watch out for their small clubs and support them too, because small people could become Bill Gates. Who knows? So thank you. Thank you for an excellent job. Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none? Okay. We're now at comments from our student representative. But before Alex gives her comments, I think we have seniors in the audience who are participating in the 39th Annual Student Government Day on January 30th. This is when students follow and shadow district administrators and role play on a mock board meeting. Students, can you please come up to the podium and introduce yourselves? One?
One bracelet.
One, okay.
Hi, my name is Laura Brody. I'm currently a senior at Iowa High School, and I'm looking forward to participating in Student Government Day as a district official.
Thank you. And Alexi.
Hello and good evening, board, cabinet, and community. I hope everyone had a happy holiday season. In 2019, the Chino Valley Unified School District's Superintendent's Advisory Council started the new year with our January 8th meeting, where we met to put our district-wide initiative into action. We began with an inspirational talk from Dr. Enfield on the importance of our project and the spread of kindness. This was followed by each school uploading their monthly updates to our Microsoft Teams folder and a brainstorming session for theme ideas. Once we voted on the theme, we split into teams containing an even mix of students from each of the schools. Each team was responsible for the production of a video showcasing the Kindness Challenge for their assigned month. As a group, we compiled lists of activities, spirit days, and other ways each campus can spread kindness. We plan to begin each month with a new video and a kindness challenge for all schools in the Chino Valley Unified School District to participate in and work to spread kindness. I would like to thank Dr. Enfield, Dr. Park, Ms. Brown, and all the staff that helped the Superintendent's Advisory Council work to spread kindness. I am proud to present our district-wide initiative, Spark the Light of Kindness.
Sound?
Yeah, there should be sound.
To do this, we created a unified approach on how to promote positivity and implement change throughout the district. By creating a new video each month, along with activities such as spirit days and positive messages on social media.
Here in the Chino Valley Unified School District, we want to start the new year by encouraging kindness throughout our district with our theme, Spark the Light of Kindness.
This is a district-wide campaign to create a call to action for not only the schools in our district, but also our community.
To do this, we created a unified approach on how to promote positivity and implement change throughout the district. By creating a new video each month, along with activities such as spirit days and positive messages on social media.
This allows us, students, to recognize that we are in control of our kindness and how we affect each other.
So I have a question, Alex. So what have you learned to spark the kindness? What would be a few things that you could tell us adults to spark kindness?
Well, one of the first things I learned was that there were many different kinds of kindness, and that's something that we're kind of focusing on with this project, with the challenge each month that shows not just the students, but also the community ways in which they can find kindness in their life and learn how to spread it themselves.
Great, thank you. Now we are at comments from employee representatives. Brenda Walker, ACT. Oh, you have none. How about Daniel Hernandez from CSA? No comments. And do we have Yvette Fali? Yes.
I'm not Yvette Farley. She asked me to make some comments. I'll make them on behalf of Champ. So, good evening, everyone. School board members are ordinary people who have an extraordinary dedication to our public schools. Across the nation, January is the National School Board Month. On behalf of Champ, I would like to thank you for your dedication and service to the Chino Valley Unified School District community. On your behalf, Champ will be donating a school library book to each school in our district. Each book will contain a plaque with your names on it. And secondly, nominations for Association of California School Administration Admin of the Year close tonight. Every year, Chino Valley has administrators honored with this award. In fact, Dr. Enfield was recognized as Central Office Administrator of the Year last year. The dinner and reception is in April, and we'll let you know if any of our admin is recognized this year. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, community liaisons. We have, Bennett? Yes, from Chino Hills.
Good evening and Happy New Year to Superintendent Enfield, President Naw, the rest of the board members, and all of the staff, and of course the audience. Some exciting things coming up in the city of Chino Hills. Actually tomorrow, the council members are all going to be meeting with our new congressman, Gil Cisneros. He, of course, is succeeding Ed Royce, who is retiring at the end of this year, or retired at the end of the year. So we're going to do a meet and greet with him because we haven't had an opportunity to meet with him personally and get to know him and have him get to know our city so that he can better represent us. If you read today's Inland Valley Daily Bulletin, you probably read that our city manager, Rad Bartlam, gave us a letter late Friday indicating that he is going to be retiring on March 31st. We want to commend him. He was hired as our fourth city manager in February of 2014, so he's completing 5 years. The City Council selected him for his wealth of experience and strong background in finance and development, and we have appreciated his sharp focus on the city's long-term financial health. He has worked to provide good guidance to the City Council in support of our goals as a city, and as a result of all of his fine work, we're in solid financial course, or his solid financial course has left us in great financial shape right now. So we're going to be meeting for the first time this next Tuesday evening in closed session to start the dialogue about what we're going to do to fill that vacancy. Coming up on Saturday, the 26th of January, we're going to have a Healthy Hills Health and Wellness Fair. It will be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Chino Hills Community Center. It will include health screenings, blood pressure, BMI, spinal check, overall health, bone density, etc. And there will be demos of city programs. Vendors will share information about healthy lifestyle, fitness, etc., and all the things that we could all do, especially now that we've started the new year. I don't know, did anybody make some New Year's resolutions? Do you have 2018 ones? Well, I made a resolution in 2018 to lose 10 pounds, and I only have 14 pounds to go. Think about that. Community safety meeting on Thursday, February 7th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the McCoy Equestrian Center. It's the second in a series of 4 community safety meetings. Our police department and Chino Valley Fire District will be teaming up with residents so that they can learn how to protect themselves and prepare for active shooter activities, and learn the importance of situational awareness and how to manage traumatic injuries. It all goes to the issue of we are our own first level of defense for anything that's going on, natural disasters or whatever. So, each year we have a national night out and we promote Neighborhood Watch. So, get involved with your neighbors. Be the eyes and ears of your neighborhood, because a lot of things that go on during the day and in the evening, and you need to help yourself, help the police and fire. Of course, you're all aware that, and the kids are in particular, that this coming Monday, Martin Luther King Day, our city facilities, library, and Chino Hills Police Department lobby will be closed, and trash service in the city will not be affected. And essentially, that is it. So I would just, what about Townsend's Chime Choir?
Awesome.
Did you like that?
That's awesome.
We had the benefit of having them come at Christmas, and they played some Christmas tunes. They're always a big hit. But, the real tribute is not only to the efforts of the students and the instructors, but to the school board, because your importance that you give to the visual and performing arts is something that's what it produces. It gives kids the ability to learn and to excel and to show those talents, those gifts that they've been given. So, thank you to the board for having the presence of mind to continue to support BAPA programs, and we appreciate that. So as we enter this school year, we were updating our calendar, and I noticed that on, I think it's May 29th, we're going to be having graduations, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, here we are. It's crazy how fast the year goes.
Yes.
So to students that are out there, work hard, learn everything you can, be a sponge. These teachers have a lot of wisdom that they can partake, and it's all benefits you. The harder you study, the easier it makes it for you going on. So God bless and Happy New Year, and continued success as a school district. We're doing great, and Greg and his team with Measure G is coming right along with all of the improvements to our schools, and that's greatly appreciated. So you guys are doing a fine job, and the 2 board members, again, congratulations. Work hard, because that there's people that will criticize you if you don't. So it's just part of the being in the hot seat up there. So keep up the good work. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. And for City of Chino, I see Mark Hargrove.
We all wrestled and he won.
I won.
Oh,
Mark, I just want to say good evening to the school board members. Mark Hargrove and I both won seats at City Council. I am the new liaison. I'm taking over for Dr. Paul Rodriguez. Just wanted to introduce myself. We solidified our committees on our, I think, Tuesday's meeting, so it's pretty new. But I'm excited to work with you. I have a son that goes to Magnolia Junior High, so I have kids in the school district. So whatever we can do to help you guys out, I'm here to help you guys in any way we can for the city. That's it. Mark Lucio.
Mark? Thank you. Okay, fire board. We have another new face, but old friend, Win Williams.
Good evening, Mr. President and board members. I'm proud to be here tonight, and I just wanted to introduce myself, and actually I'm second in command here tonight, but the other one's not here. So my name is Win Williams. I started with the Chino Fire Department what will be 50 years ago, November 1st of this year, 1969 is actually when I started. I retired in 2002. I have two children, a daughter and a son, and they both graduated from Chino high schools, from Don Lugo, and so I've been around Chino for quite a while, and been very happy to serve on the fire department, and now I'm serving on the fire board, and I'm looking forward to working with the school board and other members of the community to try and serve the community as best I can. So I'm sure you'll be hearing about me because they say that I'm a little bit opinionated, and so you'll hear probably more about me. But it's always good to have an opinion and let people know how you feel. And thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you, and if there's anything I can do for you, certainly give me a call or let me know, and we'll work together on that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see Melissa Campania and Suzette Dang. Yeah.
Well, good evening, President Na and board members and Superintendent Enfield, cabinet and community members. My name is Melissa Campani, and this is my work partner, Suzette Dang. Double trouble, and we are here representing your county supervisor, Kurt Hagman. Supervisor Hagman has a lot of exciting things going on, but he did ask us to share with you about the Prado Regional Park Master Plan Workshop. The first one's going to be happening quite soon on Wednesday, January the 30th, and we are asking for community members to attend and families of the Chino Valley Unified School District. Be a wonderful opportunity to express their opinions, what they would like to see at the Prado Park. It is a huge facility, and it's going to require a lot of work and a lot of input. So we are hoping that residents will bring their whole family. There are going to be free crafts and activities for the kids, an open discussion on the park enhancements and activities, and they are going to provide refreshments. So it should be a good opportunity. This particular meeting is going to be taking place at the Chino Hills Community Center on Peyton Drive in Chino Hills. And I think I mentioned January 30th, which is a Wednesday from 5 to 7:30 p.m. Did I get it all? Okay.
Just to add, this will be first of many workshops to come. And I believe we were told that it will be rotating within the district. So hopefully, well, not hopefully, the second one will definitely be in the city of Chino. The information will follow. But for the first one, it will be in Chino Hills. But we invite the whole community. Bring your whole family, the kids, everyone. We would love to hear your thoughts and ideas for the future of the Prado Park. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year. We're now at comments from the audience on items not on the agenda. Pat, are there any requests to speak?
No, there are not.
Not? Okay. Now then, we are changes
on
and
agenda.
deletions? Pat, are there any changes or deletions?
The following changes and deletions are on the agenda. Item 3A1, Administration, page 15, minutes of the December 13th, 2018 organizational meeting. Under consent, correct the second to read Gagne and correct the vote to read 401 with Schaefer abstaining. Item 3E1, Human Resources, page 177, under hired at the appropriate placement on the certificated salary schedule and appropriate credential for the 2018-2019 school year. Delete the name Jesus Chavez Montero.
We're now at the action items. Please announce the first item.
Item 2A1, Resolution 2018-2019-26, recognizing February as Career and Technical Education Month.
Recommend the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2018-2019-26, recognizing February as a Career and Technical Education Month. Are there any speakers? No. May I have a motion?
Motion.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Cruz, seconded by Ms. Blair. Comments, questions? Seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote?
Aye.
Okay, vote passes 5-0.
Item 2A2, Proclamation for National School Counseling Week, February 4th through the 8th, 2019.
Recommend the Board of Education adopt the proclamation for National School Counseling Week, February 4 to 8, 2019. Are there any speakers?
No speakers.
No speakers. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Gani, seconded by Mr. Cruz. Comments, questions? Seeing
I-
none. Oh,
I would just like to read the proclamation. It's not that long.
sure.
Whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential. Whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development. Whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children. Whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves. Whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Chino Valley Unified School District does hereby proclaim February 4th through 8, 2019 as National School Counseling Week. Thank you to all our Chino Valley Unified counselors.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. We're now at consent item. Pat, are there any speakers on consent items?
None on consent.
Board members, do you have any polls?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go, Mr. Schaefer first.
I actually have several. First is 3B1, page 28.
3B1, page 8.
The next is 3B3, page 31.
Page 31.
3D8, page 170.
3D8, page 70.
3D9, page 171.
Okay,
3D10, page 172.
172.
And that's it.
Ms. Gani?
Yes, I only have one poll. It's section 4, C2,
C2,
page 201.
page
Wait, is that an information?
Yeah.
201.
Is that consent or information?
information.
That's information.
Never mind.
Okay. So any others? Ms. Blair?
No.
Mr. Cruz?
No polls.
And I have no polls. So for the remainder of consent items, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Blair, seconded by Mr. Cruz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And preferential vote?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. So for 3B1, need a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Blair,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Schaefer. So, page 8.
Yeah, during the review of the warrant register, I found there is a potential conflict of interest that I have with a company that I used to do business with. I retired from that company in January of 2018. So this is obviously after that time, but just out of abundance of caution, I wanted to pull this item so I could recuse myself from this vote.
Okay.
And just for information, it's PO number 190655.
No. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote?
Aye.
So we have 4-0 and 1 recused. Okay, next item.
(3B3).
3B3.
3B3.
Page
Any
31.
motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Blair, seconded by Mr. Schaefer, and page 31.
I just wanted to pull this item just to confirm that the fundraiser at Chino Hills High School is for a 2-month conditional approval. Is that correct, Dr. Enfield?
Yes, that is correct.
And it'll come back to the board at that time for further review?
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll have some more additional information by then, I hope?
I was just going to ask that.
Yes, we're waiting. The auditor needs a little more time to evaluate the bingo program over at Chino Hills High School.
Okay, so.
So why is it being approved?
Until that time, they are still under whatever conditions the previous board placed on them?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next item, 3D6?
3D8.
3D, 8, 9,
Okay.
and 10,
Mhm.
and they're actually all kind of related.
Okay.
So
We
moved.
need to do it one at
We
a
do
time.
one at a time,
One at a
correct?
time.
Yes.
Yeah, Ms. Blair, and second?
I'll
Mr.
second.
Schaefer. Okay, page
70.
170.
Oh, 170.
170.
Then it's not 3D8, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, you have, I wrote it wrong.
170.
I have questions.
Did we motion?
I think we motioned.
Yeah, we did
did.
already.
Larry Schaefer.
I had questions last time a similar item came before us, and I just want to reiterate or re-ask the question. Part of this is security cameras, intrusion alarm, and keyless access, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
The security cameras, I'm going to harp on this. Are those proactive or reactive? Reactive meaning are they simply recording, or are they proactive where we can log in and get a live feed to see what's going on?
They will do recording, and they have the ability to have live feed. And we were, matter of fact, on Wednesday, just yesterday, with the Chino Police Department, we'll be working with them because they use the same cameras in the city of Chino. And we're, in case of an emergency, could they log in and be able to use that? And so they have live feed capability.
What is the process to take it from recording to the potential to have a live feed?
I will turn that over to Mr. Stature.
The system will need to be programmed to do so. As far as the process, is it a matter of flipping a switch when they want to go from recording to live feed? That way, I would have to find out and get back to you.
Okay. Because my concern is that we're spending money to simply record an event that doesn't really have, it's not really helping us in a proactive stance as far as security and safety goes. And so what is the primary purpose of the cameras?
Well, I know the primary purpose for us is to actually have the live feed. That is a piece that, as a superintendent, I want to have the live feed ability, because it allows somebody at the district office, when all the cameras are in place, we're looking at having somebody be able to man 24/7 that would have the ability to see, oh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody just entered one of our campuses, and then we can use it for that purposes. So that's the intent behind those, is to have that live feed.
Okay, because I'm taking a position or a view on this from a former first responder, retired first responder, that in certain situations, knowing where the potential threat is invaluable.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I would like us to move there sooner than later.
Okay.
If we can.
Yeah.
The other question I had, keyless access is great. As far as the intrusion alarm, is there any plans to include any panic buttons in central offices or central locations?
Well, the alarm systems are for after hours when people leave, that the school is alarmed for that. And it's not meant as that intrusion of when somebody enters or that emergency. But our lockdown, our keyless has the lockdown, the panic button for that, to where a school can hit it and then they go into automatic lockdown. The school's locked down, and then a notification is sent out to staff, to emergency notification of the school's on a lockdown.
Is a signal sent to any first responding agency or monitoring?
At this point, no, it does not. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have the capability to do that, but we would have to work with that.
Because worst case scenario, somebody won't be able to get to 911 right away, and it's a lot easier to push a button than it is to get to a phone.
Yeah,
And
but
so I'd like to see us maybe look at including that as an option to either the keyless entry or as part of the alarm. I mean, it sounds pretty silly, but my wife and I were talking, our home alarm system, once it's activated, our alarm company has the ability to hear what's going on inside our house. And so I would like to have that ability at some point in time, in case somebody can't get to a panic button or can't get to a phone, at least whoever's monitoring the alarm can hear that there's a struggle or there's an issue going on. And if they don't hear anything after a few seconds, then they have the ability to audible to us and ask if everything is okay.
Mhm.
And so I think we're at I mean, this is 2019, I think there's some systems out there that I think are very easy to use, fairly affordable, and I think very effective. And so I would like us to take a look at moving into a direction of something along those lines.
Yeah, and let me also touch on this from a school site administrator. I put a school on a lockdown that didn't necessarily require the police assistance. So, for example, there was one day, I think there was 5 pit bulls got onto the campus, and so we went down to a lockdown. So that wasn't an emergency of where I needed the police to come and assist and those type of things. Correct. So there can be a situation that is an emergency for that school, but it's not an emergency to pull that in. And so we have to also be aware of those type of situations. And so you don't want to send something to the police when it's not truly an emergency, but the school may need to be on the lockdown. So there's some other things that we need to look at of just doing a blank, it's automatically sent.
And that's completely understandable. I would just like to start the conversation about moving to some of these security features that would enhance the security of our students.
Yes, absolutely.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Mrs. Gagne.
I think to piggyback off of some of Mr. Schaefer's comments, one of the things that I'm concerned about and would love to get more information about is the policies around employee and student privacy. As we're adopting these technologies, they're obviously there to be preventative, to keep our community and our schools safe, but they're also always there for the same purpose. And so if I can get some insight on if there is a district-wide effort to have a comprehensive technology policy to ensure that it's very apparent to anyone who walks on our campuses or works at our campuses what our policies are in regards to technology, cameras, et cetera.
Yeah, I'd just like to add comment. I know we're making a big purchases, and it's very necessary because it talks about our students and safety and for our staffs. I would like to suggest if we would get some input from universities or school districts who has this type of technology currently being used, and get their inputs and what is pro and what is con of different systems, so that we don't have to go back once it's installed. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Cruz.
One thing, Dr. Enfield, what's going to be really awesome is that, in the past, when people lose keys, you got to change all the keys. So you'll never have to experience that anymore because that could cost, and that happens at least 3-4 times a year, and depending on the master key. So no more of that.
Yeah.
Okay. No more discussions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential?
Aye.
Okay, passes 5-0. Next item.
It's 3D9, page 171.
171.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Blair, motion, and Ms. Gagne, second.
I pulled this item just because I wasn't sure where we were going to go with the first one, but if we could just note my concerns from item D3.8, also extend to 3D9.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next item would be
3D10, page 172.
page 172. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Blair moves and Ms. Gagne second. Okay, 172.
Again, this item was pulled just depending on what happened on D3D8, so I just would like my concerns noted.
Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Okay, so we're done with these items. Okay, we're now at discussion items. As a reminder, the board is taking no action on these items. Before any of the items can be discussed, we need a motion or information.
Page.
Page.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we're trying to get us early, so. Okay, we are now at information items. Are there any questions or comments? Bobby?
I do, so.
Wait up. Bobby Patel?
Yes.
Bobby Patel?
Yes.
Here he comes.
Okay. And then,
Good evening. I'm here to present the audit report from 17-18 fiscal year. What's going to be presented is that financial statement with the opinion, report on internal controls, opinion on federal compliance, and opinion on state compliance. In addition to that, you were all provided with a letter with the audit report, which is the communication with governance. So basically, what is an audit process? The whole process is based on reasonable assurance that's provided on the financial statements are free of material misstatement. At the conclusion of the audit process, the auditor opines on the financial statements to ensure whether they're unmodified, modified, or disclaimed. The highest opinion a district could earn, it's unmodified. So that being said, I'd like to focus your attention to page 104. That's the summary of auditor's results. This basically summarizes everything in the whole booklet into nice little one page. So the first opinion on that, it's on the financial statements. The district earned an unmodified opinion. Like I said previously, that's the best opinion you could get on the financials, with no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal controls noted. The second opinion on that page, it's over the federal compliances, which is all the federal programs you guys have. Again, the district earned an unmodified opinion with no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies noted. And a couple of the major programs we tested were Title I Part A and Special Education Program. And the last opinion that's on that page is the state awards opinion. And again, the district earned an unmodified opinion on that as well. And the next page I want to focus on, it's page 90. This is the schedule of financial trends. Throughout the whole audit report, this is probably one of my favorite pages because it does like a whole comparison of the last 3 years and one future year for budget perspectives. That being said, the general fund balance increased slightly compared to 16-17, and however, it is projected to decrease in 18-19 fiscal year, budgeted, of course. On the same page, available reserve has increased over the last couple of years. Long-term debt has increased over the past 2 years. And a lot of that has to also do with GASB 75 that came into play and changed how on other post-employment benefits are reported. They're no longer amortized over a 30-year period and are all brought on to the same fiscal year last year. And average daily attendance continues to decline slightly, and it's also projected to decline in 18-19. And then the last portion I wanted to go over was the communications letter that was provided with the audit booklet. Basically, the intent of that letter is to communicate directly with those charged with governance, i.e. the governing board, the results of the audit, the appropriate accounting policies if the management has implemented them or not, any audit findings we have noted. I'm glad to say we haven't had any audit findings this year. And then also if there were any difficulties encountered during the audit process or disagreement with management. And again, there was none of that noted as well. The management was great to work with. And did you guys have any questions on the district report?
Any question? I have Mr. Ghani lined up. No?
I actually,
Schaefer?
just kind of a general question.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know, and it's probably better answered by staff. I'm not sure where it was in the book now, but there was some questions or recommendations related to some credit card and ABS or ASB deposits. There were some. Are those recommendations in process and in place?
They've been for years.
So basically, that portion of the audit report, we don't consider them to be findings. They're more of management recommendation in a sense where they weren't elevated to significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. I believe the credit card portion, management's already handling the process and correcting.
Yeah, Mr. Schaefer, so every year our auditors goes out to all 4 high schools to audit the ASB process. And when we get the recommendations from the auditor, we go over each of them with the principals at the school site.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you. Ms. Blair, you had a question on information item?
Oh, but that for later. Pat's light. Oh.
Yeah.
That's for the next information item.
Oh, okay, there's another one for the bond audit.
Okay, another for bond. Okay.
My question is
All right, so the Measure G audit report. So basically, that audit report covers both financial audit of the fund activity and also the performance specific compliance requirements as required by the state constitution, section 13A. Our opinion on the financial statement was unmodified as well. Again, that's the highest the district could earn with no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies noted. On the performance side of the audit, basically what we do is we pull a sample of transactions to ensure that they're aligned with what the voters voted on. And all of the expenditures we pulled pretty much align with the language of the ballot. And we tested 60% of the expenditures in total. Did you guys have any questions on Measure G report?
Any of you? No?
Thank you.
Good
night.
Thank you. Good night.
on 482.
Okay, now Ms. Blair has a question.
On information item 482, page 194, in relation to minutes and recordings, page 196, recording or broadcasting of minutes. And I know that this, the last paragraph on this page is not a change, but since it's coming forward for an information item, I would like consideration by the board to change the time frame. It took me almost 4 years to get our board meetings recorded and uploaded onto the website, and now this states any district recording may be erased or destroyed 30 days after the meeting. Recordings made at the direction of the board during a meeting are public records and upon request shall be made available for inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. But I would ask consideration by the board that we not erase or destroy them after 30 days. I would ask that we keep them at least for a year. I know we don't want, to clutter our system, but I just think 30 days isn't sufficient time for our community to watch the recordings. And so I would ask for consideration not to include this language.
Let me discuss some of that. We put all of our board meetings are put onto our website. I don't have my laptop here to look at them, but I know they go back a couple of years.
Right.
And so we haven't been, that allows the ability to do that, but we haven't been doing that. And
But I know we haven't been doing that.
Yes.
But if leadership changes, it opens that possibility because it says they may be erased. And that's what I don't want to occur. Because you're okay with it right now, but that doesn't mean that down the road, the superintendent and the board will agree to that. I just don't think it should state that.
Okay, I'd like to ask to check, see what other districts do and what it entails, having 2 years of recording and the possibilities and things like that, and come back to us.
yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
That was it.
Okay. Mrs. Bani?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to request some review and consideration of the revision of board policy 6142.1. That starts on page 201.
Page 2.
And principally, my concern is actually on the bottom of page 202. My understanding is, please correct me if I'm wrong, that this revision that I'm about to, or the sentence I'm about to point out was revised by the 2009 board. Obviously, none of us were a party to that. But there's a sentence that reads in that last paragraph, the first sentence, that the Board of Education recognizes that sexual health and HIV/AIDS prevention shall encourage students to be abstinent and to conceptualize sexual behavior in the ethical and moral context of marriage. While I think the first part of that sentence before the "and" can stand, I would ask that we consider striking from "and" to the end of the sentence. I'm not sure what the inclusion of that provides within this policy, what it effectuates, and so I would ask for reconsideration of that.
Okay. When it comes back as the board will bring it, or will bring it back for under consent, and based on that, you can make a motion if you want at that time to make those changes.
Perfect.
And Mr. Na, while we're on that same policy, as you can see, this was a policy that Mrs. Chiduster, if we all remember, did a presentation on. And so staff brought it back because there were some issues with this board policy and it needed to be updated. As part of that updating for our sex education for the district, in this policy you can see it says it has an advisory committee that the superintendent could put together. And as an update to the policy and for an update for the curriculum, Dr. Park is going to be taking the lead on looking at the curriculum and looking at the standards. And so I'm going to ask each board member if they would appoint a member to this superintendent advisory committee who will be looking at the new curriculum that would align with what the state wants us to teach. That way we have people, because that was the real issue that came forward, was the curriculum, and so we want to have buy-in from our community. So if each board member could give me a name, and we'll be moving forward with that shortly.
Okay, thank you. Good. Okay. Are we done with information items? Yes? Okay, now we're at discussion items. As a reminder, the board is taking no action on these items. Before any of the item can be discussed, we need a motion and second. Pat, please introduce the first discussion item.
Item 5A1, Board Member Irene Hernandez Blair's request to rescind the board action taken on September 4th, 2008, adopting Resolution 2008-2009-06 in support of Proposition 8. We have one speaker.
Okay.
Naomi Minogue. Oh, you. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
So is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gagne. Okay, and could you explain to this, Dr. Enfield?
Yeah, so let me take a little bit of time here, and I may get a little bit long-winded on this one. So I know Mrs. Hernandez-Blair, you requested at the last board member to bring this forward, but I, in working with Mr. Don, the board president, we brought it forward as a discussion item. As the superintendent, I wanted to have a little bit of discussion on this and to give a little bit of background. And for the people who may not remember, for our public, Proposition 8 was an initiative on the California ballot back in 2008. And the school board at that time came forward with a board resolution that was in favor of Proposition 8, which was basically that a marriage was between a man and a woman. So that's some little bit of background information. In my experience in education, I've seen, typically with school boards, you see three types of resolutions. The most common type of resolution, you saw it on the board agenda tonight, was when the resolution for Career Technical Education Month. And that is a common board resolution where the board is recognizing and honor programs or people. For example, the board does a resolution for Red Ribbon Week. They do it for the Day of the Teacher and for Classified Week. And so that's a resolution that we're honoring people. The other type of board resolution, again, was on this board agenda under the consent, was a resolution for authorizing something. And on tonight's agenda, Resolution 2018/2019-25, the authorization to utilize a piggyback contract. And that gives the board the authority for whenever another public agency puts out a bid, that the district can piggyback on that bid and not have to go out to bid and can use that bid and purchase based on those pricing. And so that's a common practice that boards take resolutions for. One that is more rarely used was the board resolution for Proposition 8. And as an example, that's a resolution where the board had an opinion about an issue. And so let me talk a little bit about our board policy, and then I want to talk about some of the concerns that I had with that board resolution. So when we look at our board policy and we look at our 9000 series, which is board policy on the authority, the duties, and the powers of the board. And the board has the power and the duty to oversee me as the superintendent, as the chief executive officer. They have the ability to oversee business, so that's the budgeting, the accounting, the auditing, and the expenditures. We had an audit report tonight. They have the ability to oversee the curriculum, the course of studies. A number of those courses came tonight for the board. Textbooks, adoptions. Under personnel, you do the hiring, the termination, salaries, and then under facilities. And you saw under the consent item, you approved a number of items with facilities. And so that, when you look at it, that is the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. When you look at Proposition 8, that does not fall under the subject matter jurisdiction of the Board of Education. That's my opinion, that it does not fall under that. And because it does not fall under that, the board should not have adopted that resolution. It should not have come forward to the board at all. If I look at the second part of the resolution, our Proposition 8, the Supreme Court has already ruled that same-sex marriage is legal and it's allowable. And so if we were to bring a resolution forward, I'm a little concerned with two issues. One, we would be doing the same thing that the other board did back in 2008, bringing a board policy that this board does not have subject matter jurisdiction to hear, and are we going to validate what the Supreme Court has already ruled? The third part of that resolution, I think, is an important one, is that resolution was an opinion of the board. And just like tonight when we approved the board resolution on the Career Technical Education Month, 2 years from now, a board cannot come and invalidate tonight's board adoption of that resolution. I can't go back and invalidate another board's opinion. And so that's the other issue that I have with it. And I think the fourth one, which I believe is the most important one, is I think it's the responsibility of us as the leaders of the district to, when we're going to do a resolution, if you're going to adopt a resolution like a prop resolution, that we really take a look at that resolution. Because a board can adopt a resolution that, let's say, we don't believe there's appropriate funding for special education. Okay, that falls under the subject matter jurisdiction of the board, and it impacts our students. But when you look at a board resolution, I believe we need to look at a resolution as, is it polarizing? Are there opposite sides to this resolution that we're going to bring forward? And if so, there are students, there are parents, there are staff members and community members who feel regarding the Proposition 8. I think there's three groups of people out there. Probably a group that says, I'm neither for either side. And then there's probably a group that feels very strongly that marriage is sacred between a man and a woman. And then there's other people that believe that marriage is between two people who love one another, regardless of their gender. And if we're going to bring a board resolution like this, it creates polarization. It creates division within our community, and it's not the message that I believe as a superintendent that we want to send as a district. And so my concern to go back, and so I have four concerns: to go back in time under something we don't have subject matter jurisdiction. The Supreme Court has already ruled that is the law of the land. It is an opinion of another board that we cannot invalidate through our own resolution. And the fourth one, that if we did it the other way, there are students, there are staff members, community members, and parents who were in support of Proposition 8. Just, we would be upsetting those individuals if we did it the other side. And so my recommendation as a board is, through our actions, we wouldn't bring that type of resolution forward because we support everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer? No? Okay.
Well, I do. I pushed my...
Okay.
Okay. So I appreciate everything that you've shared, Dr. Enfield, and I understand that you don't want to go back and rehash what took place back in '08. But it's still in the community. It's still discussed. It is still out there. And whether we want to say that this is a new board, well, the majority now, is different. This still exists. The superintendent who at the time supported this resolution wasn't able to get a job for quite a while. He was fired from where he left. He left Chino Valley Unified to go to Georgia, and he got fired there and then tried to find work. And this resolution haunted him. And you can look up Chino Valley Unified Prop 8 resolution, and you will see how difficult it was for the superintendent up until 2 years ago to find a job. It's still out there. What this resolution, it has a number, it is identified, whether it was a prior board, it is still part of Chino Valley Unified Board of Education. And it still sends out the message to students that we disagree with the fact that they may have same-sex parents. I may not ever say that I would be married to a woman. But that's not why I'm here. I wasn't elected to make judgment, moral judgments. That is not why I'm here. And I've been ridiculed and belittled and, you know, don't let me be absent for a few meetings because it becomes front page news. You know, life happens and things aren't perfect in all of our lives, and we're all different. And we need to recognize that. And it's a new year, and it's an opportunity for a fresh start, and there has to be a way to rescind this. I understand that you say that it's an opinion of that board, but you said it wasn't a subject matter that they should have addressed. So it was wrong from the start, and because it's wrong from the start, we need to do away with it. There has to be a way to rescind that opinion. And it wasn't just an opinion, it's a resolution with a resolution number. That means it exists somewhere. It's in our files somewhere. It's not just an opinion. An opinion is me making a verbal opinion. A resolution is on paper. It was identified with a number, which means this district has it in its history forever. And it's time to get rid of this. There are laws that protect against discrimination, whether we support them morally, personally, faith-based or not. It doesn't belong here. It's time to let it go.
Scott?
I just guess I have a question. You know, these types of issues where a board back in time, you know, has made decisions that are contemporaneous with whatever the values are of the community or society. One example of boards, whether they're local municipal boards or otherwise, you know, rescinding something might be around Brown versus Board of Education. There were plenty of resolutions across this country where, you know, there was at one point in time one viewpoint on school segregation, at another the law updated and school boards went back and passed these resolutions. Does our district have a history, though, of doing things of that nature?
Of rescinding resolutions, no, I have no history of us doing that, but I do have a history of us updating our board policies, and I think that's the, to me, that's the important piece, that resolution, and then I look at our board policy, because our board policies is what drives us and guides the district in its actions, and that's the piece that's, to me, is most important, is what do our board policies and our administrative regulations say?
Okay, next item.
Mr. Na, if that is a wish, Mrs. Hernandez-Blair, that I would ask that if you wanted to bring a resolution, that I would ask that if you could draft that resolution of what it is that you want, and then bring that forward so that I have an idea. Because under the last time when we had the education, Mr. Cruz brought that forward. And so I would ask, because I don't know what exactly you would want to put in that resolution, so if you could bring that forward to me, then we can put that on the board agenda.
I don't want another resolution addressing this. I just want to rescind and do away with 2008/2009-06.
And again, in talking to attorneys, there is no way to rescind that. It's already the opinion, the action. It sits out there, will always sit out there as an action that was taken by that board at that time period. Just like a board cannot come in 2 years from now and rescind the board resolutions that were passed tonight, because it's the opinion of this board at this time. And again, that's why I caution that this board doesn't get into doing those type of things as the board of 2019 moving forward.
Okay, I get your point. I'll do my own legal research as well.
Next item.
Item 5A2, Board Member Irene Hernandez-Blair's request to rescind the board action taken on October 17, 2013, adopting Resolution 2013-2014-10, opposing Assembly Bill 1266. We have 3 requests to speak.
Okay, Mr. Cruz.
Do you want to do
Yeah.
that?
Okay, speakers. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Begin comments at the green light. 30 seconds, you'll see the yellow light. Red light means your time is over. Adjust the microphone as necessary, and please refrain from making comments while speakers, the audience. Thank you.
The first speaker is Bella Kennedy Cummings.
Good evening, school board members and guests, Superintendent Dr. Enfield, and the members of our community. My name is Bella Kennedy Cummings, and I'm a senior at Don Antonio Lugo High School. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm super proud of our community and that we elected a new board members that are more progressive and student-centered rather than being concerned with their own Christian agenda. We now have a board that is more concerned about our students and our community rather than their own ideological issues. I'm here tonight to speak to you about our LGBT community. I have several friends that are LGBTQ. I was raised by two moms who adopted me and my 5 siblings. A while ago, the state designed guidelines to protect the LGBT community, and especially those who are transgender, for questioning youth and adults. The last board that we had in place before the election was unfortunately not concerned with the high number of suicides and attempted suicides and the well-beings of members of the LGBT community. I am hoping to convince this new and wonderful board that everyone matters, even our LGBT community and our transgendered youth. I am asking that the school board and all of the principals, counselors, teachers, and everyone else that works for our district follow the guidelines that were set forth by the state of California. I am asking this board to be mindful and respectful to everyone. Thank you.
Naomi Minogue, followed by Juan Villalba.
Good evening, President Na, Vice President Hernandez-Blair, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Enfield, Deputy Superintendents, and members of our CVUSD community. Tonight, I wish to express my support of the request made by Mrs. Hernandez-Blair to rescind the resolution against AB 1266. I wish I had more time. I have strong feelings about this. I also understand Superintendent Dr. Enfield's position. But I feel that this is very important to remove this bubble of the resolution over this board. I'm going to read a letter on behalf of a family member in our district. I am writing this letter in support of our school board reversing the reservations regarding AB 1266. It matters what the leaders in our community do and what they say. As the leaders of our school board, it is essential that you show support for all of our students, including those who are transgender. Past and some current members of our school board publicly and officially stand in opposition to AB 1266 and its protective ruling to allow transgender students to participate in gender-segregated activities and to use the restrooms and locker rooms according to their identified gender. This is not only discriminatory, but embarrassing and shameful. This stance by leadership puts a fragile population of students at the risk of bullying, hate speech, and attacks. I was recently made aware that a transgender student in our district has had threatening letters left on his car referencing his gender identity. If leaders in our community officially do not stand against this type of discrimination, children of our community can easily become empowered to act on their intolerance of differences. Students absolutely need you, our school board, to make a strong and clear stance against acts of bullying. I am a parent of 3 sons, the youngest of which happens to be transgender. All 3 attended or attend Chino Valley Unified Schools. 99% of people would not be able to point out which one of my sons was born female, which means to say that they all pass as young men. Interestingly enough, my youngest chooses not to use the boys' restroom at school and is not comfortable enough to use the boys' locker room for fear of being outed. Because of this, he is unable to participate in regular PE classes currently because the nurse's office is too far from PE facilities, so he has to complete PE during summer school. He reports that other transgender students don't even go to the restroom during school hours because they fear mistreatment or bullying. I ask you, the school board, to please make your clear support for AB 1266 and protect and serve all of the students in our district. Thank you.
Juan Villalba.
Hi, good evening. Board members, community. I was part of the previous resolution, the one that I already mentioned about Prop 8, so it wasn't called, and my intention was to speak on both topics. I get what Mr. Dr. Enfield said about the resolutions, that backtracking and all that. I understand the concept and all that, but yet again, as Ms. Irene Fernandez mentioned, it's out there, right? And it's unfortunate that the board takes personal opinions and displays them in public when actually it should be about education and nothing else. I agree with your conundrum right now. I'd say, yeah, it's out there, and I agree with Mrs. Hernandez Blair. Like, yeah, it is there, you know. I was surprised that as well what happened today. We have a beautiful band. We have beautiful programs going on the district. I see your charts today about education, and it's great. I see sparkle kindness and everything. It's in such a stark contrast with those resolutions that I say, well, where that came from? Why is it that it has to be like that? Why is it that the board prioritize personal opinions instead of the education of our children, which should be the one and only concern that the board should have? Personal opinions, yes, you can go, take them outside and voice them if you want it. You can step out of the office, there's a sidewalk back there, get your megaphone and, you know, voice your opinion. But a board, an institution, should not take positions or make opinions on personal matters like sexuality, sexual orientation, family composition. Those are items that are personal and sacred to each and each individual. A board shouldn't participate on that, since it's not only an invasion to privacy, it's actually none of its business because it's not a legislative body. So I'm surprised at that, and I agree with Ms. Irene that it should be taken out if possible. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Enfield?
Is there?
And then,
So moved.
oh, do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Blair and second by Ms. Gagne. Dr. Enfield first, and then Mr. Schaefer.
All right.
Did you have? No? Oh, okay.
Again, I want to go back to, I think it's an important for the board. Well, let me start with this. My wife always says to me, Norm, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I say that to the board out of abundance of caution to the board, because tonight, because of a board resolution that the board took action on back in 2013, there are students here that feel that the board does not support them. And as a superintendent, when I look at our board policies, you know, we have to follow the law. Our board policy is aligned with the law. We follow the law regarding AB 1266. And just as a reminder for the public, AB 1266 added a subsection F to the Education Code 2215 that provides pupils shall be permitted to use facilities consistent with his or her gender identity, irrespective of the gender listed on the pupil's record. And so when a board makes a decision to bring a resolution, which is the opinion of that board, forward, what are the consequences and what is the message that we're sending to all of our students? Because we represent everybody. We represent all of our students, we represent our staff, we represent our parents and our communities. And for me, that's a very important one, because tonight, as you can see, we have students here sharing about that this board, that we don't support them. And I believe we all support all of our students. And I would recommend that if the board has an opinion on an issue, like an issue on that Assembly Bill 1266, the appropriate place, rather than doing a board resolution, is to address that when the board policy comes forward and address specifically what is your concern regarding that board policy, and that would be an appropriate place to have that comment or make those the comments on there, or at the end of the board member at the end of the board meeting under comments would be the appropriate place to make those comments regarding the specific concerns that you may have with a law that's going to impact a school district. But again, to come out with that board resolution, it sent a message to some of our students, some of our parents, some of our staff members, and some of our community members that we were opposed to them. And that I do not believe is what should be the intent. Again, we represent everyone.
Okay. Now we're at board members and superintendent. Is there a comment? No.
No, the same as above, so ditto.
Okay.
As the prior.
Yeah. So.
Can I say something quick?
Sure.
In terms of the, the Brown Act, Dr. Enfield, I think it's best to caution the board about things concerning closed session if it doesn't leak out during, what do you call it, our communications.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now we are at the board members and superintendent communications. Start with Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to put a shout out to the students from Townsend. It was a fantastic performance, and so kudos to them. During the holiday break, I attended an event at Ayala High School. It was the, I think they call it the Holiday Waffle Vex Robotics Tournament. It was a fantastic tournament. I think there was 20 some odd teams there from around the area, not just from our district, junior high to high school age. And if you're not familiar with the VEX Robotics Tournament, which I was not before this, it's very elaborate and very, very methodical in the way that the tournaments are run. They put out a set of rules at the beginning of the year, and those rules govern the tournaments for the entire year so that students can make adjustments and tweak their machines to perform better as the year goes on. So the rules stay the same, the courses stay the same. Great job by y'all. I do believe there's one coming up at Don Lugo, maybe this weekend. I believe.
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday. So if you have a chance and you haven't, got to stop by and watch. It's quite incredible. I attended the Baldy View ROP meeting. It was a light agenda, mostly organizational. I would like to mention, though, and I think Ms. Orozco did before her term was over. We are in the process of Baldy View is in the process of building a new logistics training center in Ontario. It's going to be a program that's kind of in conjunction with UPS, and so the training facility is going to mimic the inside of a warehouse with conveyors and logistics management systems, and it's going to prepare students for either internships or jobs with the major carriers and logistics companies in the Inland Empire, which are numerous. There's tons of opportunities out there, and the goal is, and I'm not sure we're there yet, is once they graduate from this course and they have a certificate in the logistics management, that they have priority with some of our partners, UPS, FedEx, maybe Amazon, and some other groups that we're working with. So that's exciting. Last night, I attended the Chino Hills Parks and Recs Commission. We had an update on the Los Serranos Park, which I'm sure most of you know is being built next to Chaparral. It's kind of a unique venture between the district and the city. The district actually owns the property, and the city is paying for the park to go in. So it's a joint project. Despite the rains, they're still anticipating an October 19th ribbon cutting. And one thing that they did put out, which I thought was really cool, is the city has reached out to the students at Chaparral, and the students are doing artwork on 6x6 cards. That art will be transferred to tiles, which the city is then going to put around the restroom facilities and park walkways and stuff, so that there's going to be a tie-in with the school, and I thought that was a really nice gesture. I will reiterate what Supervisor Hagman's representative said earlier. January 30th, from 5 to 7:30 at the Chino Hills Community Center is going to be a Prado Park community meeting. Supervisor Hagman is committed to updating and improving Prado Park. It's very underutilized right now, so it's a great time for all of us to get our thoughts as to what we might want to see out there, because it's a great resource for us right here in our own community. So I would encourage you to go if you can. The next item, Dr. Enfield, you and I have kind of talked about this, and I'm going to officially throw it out there now. Sorry. I would like to start the discussion on us formulating a tech program in this district. I think it's well overdue, and it's time. There's Troy Tech and Fullerton, Brahma Tech at Diamond Bar. We lose students each year to those programs. I think if we can formulate and put a program like that in place in our district, not only will we hopefully stave off those students leaving our district, but maybe we can also attract some students from surrounding districts. So maybe a way to help offset our declining enrollment a little bit. I don't know if Art mentioned the, I don't think he did, but I don't know if Dr. Enfield is going to, on Wednesday, January 23rd, the district's putting on this second community event regarding suicide prevention and awareness. And the program's titled The Role of the Parents in Suicide Prevention. It's going to be presented by Dr. Diane Vargas. It's January 23rd from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Chino Hills High School MPR. Is that correct? Not the theater? The MPR? So the MPR. Suicide isn't just a family issue. It's not a police issue. It's not just a school issue. It's a community issue. And until we can all put aside our stigmatism of the word suicide and start talking about the issues surrounding the suicides of our young kids and the issues that our young kids have, it's a conversation that we need to start, and it's a conversation we need to have. So I'm hoping that we can all come together and do what's right for our students. And even if it's not your own kid, maybe it's one of their friends or a classmate that you can help. I would encourage everyone to attend. And then lastly, Dr. Enfield, thank you for deciding, for the decision to form an advisory committee related to our sexual ed and sexual health curriculum. I think that's going to be very beneficial. So thank you. That's it. Have a good night.
Ms. Gagne?
Good evening. I want to thank everyone for attending this evening, and particularly thank the students who attended. I think it's admirable that you're here and being civically engaged. And that's part of my comments for this evening. I have a couple things I just want to address since I'm new to the board, and this is the start of a relationship with the community. So I first want to focus on civic engagement and community involvement. And second, the idea of stewardship, which I think is really important to public service. This district, and this is not lost on anyone, has oftentimes been embroiled in debates on various topics that have less to do with high quality and accessible publication for every kid in this community, and more to do with what I view as adults potentially fighting about adult topics, which we're losing sight of what the focus should be of these meetings and of the school district, which is kids and high quality public education. I hope it's not lost on anyone that the lawsuit, the Freedom from Religion Foundation lawsuit, has been divisive. I think that's probably fairly obvious. And it's my hope we can move past an era of divisiveness and one of inclusiveness so that we can actually, again, focus on quality public education. So I just want to highlight a few things that I'm going to do as a new board member in order to communicate better with all of you and to share what's happening throughout the community. First and foremost, I'll be having monthly community coffees at various locations throughout the community. I really feel that I need to be accessible and get feedback from each and every one of you, so I'll be posting dates and times for these, and they'll begin in February. I'm also trying to meet with all stakeholders throughout the district over the next 6 months, whether that's visiting all the school sites, meeting with all the parent groups. We have a lot of stakeholders here who I feel, from their communication, feel that their voice has not been heard for quite a while, and I think that's very unfortunate because Chino Valley is a wonderful community, and I want to make sure everyone feels like they're being heard. And finally, I'm going to actively be using social media to communicate. I have a Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook page, so anytime I make a decision or if you have a question about anything that I'm doing, that is a conduit for you to communicate with me. My phone number as well as my district email are also going to be publicly available in case you have something that you wish to communicate and perhaps you can't be here in person. And one of my priorities is career pathways, so I was very excited that we passed that resolution earlier, and I'm very excited about the work that the district is doing to enhance career pathways and build success for all students. But I also want to comment on stewardship and sort of my philosophy to public service, and I'm saying this because I think that, again, we've had a lot of conversation and division on the board and in the community. Stewardship is an essential part of public service, and sometimes stewardship means that how you personally feel about something has to be set aside for the betterment of the community. And I think it's great that we do have such a diversity of opinions in this community. I think while sometimes it's divisive, other times it's one of the best characteristics this community has. But we are stewards of the district, whether we are overseeing financial management, affecting positive public relations, reviewing administrative matters, or being liaison through the community. And we have made a decision, and this was publicly already disclosed in a report out from closed session, so my comments are readily okay to deliver. We made a decision on a lawsuit that, in my view, has taken up too much of the district's time and resources, as well as served as a point of divisiveness. As a community, I really think our public schools should be the one place where we're all rallying together for the purpose of high-quality public education. And moving forward, if we cannot answer the question of whether it's an initiative, a decision, furthers high-quality public education, then we shouldn't be making those decisions, because otherwise we turn what should be conversations about quality public education and helping all stakeholders in the district achieve that into ideology circuses, and I don't think that benefits anybody whatsoever. I'm not going to waste my time regaling the facts of the case. I practice First Amendment law. I could go on for hours, but that would essentially bore you to tears, so I'll be very brief. I analyzed all the materials in the case, all the filings, the pleadings. I don't come to decisions lightly, particularly when it relates to the First Amendment, because I've spent my career fighting for the First Amendment. But I have to make a decision as a steward of the district to recognize the financial constraints, to recognize the human resources constraints, and to recognize generally where people want the direction of the district to go. And I had the opportunity in running for office to talk to thousands of our local community members, and regardless of ideologies, political beliefs, religious beliefs, the broad consensus was that people wanted to move past this lawsuit. And my job is to represent every single person in this community. And I understand the decision we came to might not be favorable with a portion of this community, but the broad consensus is people want to move past this. And so we're moving past this. I just wanted to explain sort of my decision and my approach, because as I make decisions, I'm accountable to you to explain those decisions. But it is my hope that we're now going to move forward in a positive direction, and that I can work with each and every one of you. So thank you for hearing me out, and have a great evening.
Okay, Mr. Cruz.
Yes, I also attended the robotic event at Ayala. Parent support, amazing, and without the teachers, the program wouldn't fly. So it's a very good program. January 19th, there's also another robotic event, and it's from 9 to 5:30, and the best time is to show up at 2 p.m. And also, I also visited Hidden Trail School. I got to see firsthand teachers, staff doing an awesome job educating our children and providing a safe environment. I visited the Department of Student Support Services. Ms. Stephanie Johnson is the director. There are great people in the department who are working hard for students and parents. I visited Sharon Lustro, who is an adult ELD education teacher. I visited because a person from the community stated she is an awesome teacher and kind teacher. Just a small gesture, I bought a cake for her class to congratulate her for being an outstanding teacher for our community. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a great program. And that is during Christmas, the Chino Neighborhood House gave out bikes and presents to children and also fed hundreds of Chino residents. You know, congratulations to President Cisneros of the Neighborhood House for doing an awesome job. And February 2nd is Run for Us. It's a great 5K run. So it's a police officer that passed away in 2001, struck by a truck. So, you know, that's a hit and run, unfortunately. The last thing I would like to say is this. You know, we're always learning. And I want to alert the community. You know, I read something over the break. So Dr. Zimmerman, a government top expert, now retired, explained that in a subset of children, vaccine-induced fever and immune stimulation did cause regressive brain disease with features of autism spectrum disorder. And the reason why I bring that up is that the autism has increased from 1 to 55 to 1 to 40 or 44. So parents, if your gut tells you that, if you feel this hesitant of giving vaccines to your son or daughter, I advise that you do research. And I think that's very important, to listen to your gut and listen to that well. And the numbers are increasing, and there might be evidence that certain vaccines may be causing autism. So it is good to, you know, do your research for those that your gut tells you that maybe something might happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blair.
Alexi, and I saw a couple of the students in the video regarding the Spark, the Light of Kindness. How awesome. And so I wanted to ask, are there clubs at each high school that are working on this? Or is it just...
Well, so far it started with just the leadership groups at the high schools, the ASBs and the USBs. So we're hoping that those leadership groups at each high school reaches out to other organizations that would be interested in participating, so that the program and like our theme for the year can grow and involve other people.
Awesome. I think what you're doing is so needed in our schools, especially at the high school level. I think it needs to be throughout the district. But the fact that you've all gotten this started is wonderful. I know that we've had the suicide prevention workshop. It was just held at Chino Hills High School last night, and so I guess there's going to be others. But we're burying our head in the sand because we're still not addressing the bullying that's going on at our high schools. And there's still so much more that we can do. Just this past week, there was a student from Don Lugo who attempted to take his life. And it just seems to me that it's prevalent amongst boys. And why? Why? Because oftentimes we tell them that they have to suck up their feelings. This community just last year made it quite evident, and this school board made it quite evident, that the feelings and what had transpired to 55 football players was irrelevant. How many of those 55 football players have attempted suicide? No one has asked. Nobody cares. But this continues. And I hope that now that we have a new board and that we have a new superintendent, that there'll be true focus on what occurred, that we don't let it go, because it's obviously still bothering some of those students. This is amazing. Whoever thought of the Spark the Light of Kindness, I hope that you are forever blessed, because it is wonderful. It is a beautiful thing to be able to ensure that everyone receives kindness. So thank you for that. So I'm going to get away from that because then I get emotional. but we still need to address the bullying in our schools. I want to thank 3 students who sent letters. I'll start off with Faith McCain and Emma Kang at Canyon Hills Junior High School, who wrote letters, and I don't know if it was a homework assignment, but I appreciated the fact that they took the time to write letters with supportive data on why there should be no homework. And I remember that last year we had Flory Welsh's son who came, and he had a petition that was signed by lots of folks, including Mr. Schaefer, who now sits up here. And he didn't want, he was in support of no homework. So I want to recognize Faith and Emma. I did read your letters, and I also looked up the links and the supportive data. But I don't know that we're moving towards no homework. But I do appreciate the time you took for the letters. So that way you can tell your teacher that you did do your assignment and that the board member did read it. The next letter I received is from Alicia Sirop, S-I-R-O-P, and she's a student at Chaffee, and she is a product of Chino Valley Unified. But she's asking that we work in collaboration with the Chino Police Department to create a homework house. And she mentions that Azusa Police Department has a homework house, and so I did go on their website and their Facebook page, and indeed they have a homework house where police officers take the time after their shifts and they report to the homework house, and they help children with homework for 1 to 2 hours after their shift. And it's run every day after school through at least 5 to 6 o'clock until such time as parents pick up their children. So I will, Alicia, be forwarding your request for consideration to Chief Comstock. And I think if Azusa Police Department can make it work, then so can we. So I appreciate the letter, and I'll be responding to you via email. And with that, everyone have a good night. Thank you.
Dr. Enfield.
I want to share about the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. They have done a tremendous job. At the beginning of the school year, they got together and they looked at the LCAP. And then looking at the LCAP, they wanted to address student connectedness. And through that, they see that kids are sometimes not connected to school and the importance of it. And they talked about the stress, the anxiety that they experience. And they're the ones who came up with the idea of wanting to do a community outreach to help support other students throughout our district. And it was through the work over several meetings and over brainstorming. They were in a meeting talking about how, some of the things that they could do to help support the other students. And in that brainstorming session, they talked about doing acts of kindness, and then from that, I think it generated into one particular student saying, well, it's not something we should just do one day or 1 week. It needs to continuously happen, and we need to revisit it over and over again, and that's the wisdom of our kids. And through that, we have supported them to help them launch this initiative. So they came together, I think it was Tuesday, January 8th, the first week back on Tuesday. We were at the PDC, and all of the leadership kids from all of the high schools and from the junior highs came together to build an initiative. And it was at that meeting that they came up with that theme of Spark the Light of Kindness. And in that, they developed videos. The one video that you saw tonight was the introductory video. And then every month for February, March, April, and May, they came up with a theme that would focus in on different types of kindness. And so those videos you will see at every board meeting. They will bring them here so we can introduce in February what that theme is. But with that, they have an implementation plan of what are the activities that they're going to do during the month of February. And the first month is going to be the Golden Rule. Is the theme of that one. And then there will be activities that are going to go on at the high schools, and as Lexi shared with, they're going to work at their high schools to get other clubs involved, and we've talked to the principals about the support of them taking that to the junior highs or doing the exact same thing so that theme goes across the district. And then they're going to be looking at how can they take that to the elementary students. And so I can tell you as a superintendent, I'm extremely proud of the work that they did. And I'm going to tell you the staff members that were in there working with the kids who are here, there was so much energy. And I know the kids had a lot of energy, but I think the adults walked out of there just saying, hey, we were more jazzed, I think, in some situations more than the kids because of the work that they were doing. And I believe that's the important work. That was the message that we shared to them is how are we going to treat one another as a school district and as a community. And so, I couldn't be prouder of the initiative that they took on. And tonight, we have two individuals who sit on the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. Alexi is the president, and then I have Madison, who is the VP, who attends Ayala High School, and then Viviana is the secretary and who attends Don Lugo, and those three were all in the video that you saw today, and they created that initial video, and they got to experience also some other filming and having to talk to a camera, but you guys will see that later. I don't want to get into that now, but that was a neat experience. I think some enjoyed it more than others. But again, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for the work that you do to support that initiative. I think it's awesome, so thank all of you. And with that, good night.
Thank you. I also have received a letter from Benjamin Goy from Canyon Hills High School, and he also said he wants to have no homework. So, so I would have to tell teachers I gotta make visitation to Canyon Hills High School and see what's going on. But you know, there'll be a pro and con. Sometimes you want to get your way all the time, and later you discover that was not best for you. So life's always about challenging and also balancing too. I was really proud of Alexi, not because she was a top student, as people had said, and very dedicated student, as people had said, but she proved herself. And when she proved herself to excel, I watched her mom, every meeting, support from family. That's where it starts, a family. A few years back, I had I guess it was a principal, yes, had put in a kid to the office room, and she said, I have a big complaint from your friends that you're throwing F-bombs all the time. Matter of fact, one of your friends had counted. It was 27 times in 1 hour. It annoyed your friends. So what do you think about this? And guess what he said to her? He said, I don't remember saying those words. These are my friends. Life's about dramas. So when I said to Alexi, tell the kindness, light of kindness, and how you do that or practice it to the adults. Because many of us are in dramas on this earth daily, because it's about me, 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 me. And sometimes we don't know what kind of impact that could make to our children. So later, principal found out the family members are using F words all the time. So it is your job as a youth to be always down or being negative or be positive. There's no family such thing as a perfect family. But you learn from it. That the ones that you had good memories, make it stronger when you become a parent. The things that were harmful, that wasn't nice, then don't do it. We have to discover ourselves again. The technology, yes, it's achieving in 1,000 miles an hour. Soon, we don't need drivers to drive our cars anymore. Maybe in 5 years, they said. But what do we have on this earth? What is our accomplishments? What is our goal? What is the meaning? What is the meaning of being educated if you're not kind, if you're not considerate, if you're not nice? So, I like to see more nice people growing up, becoming nice adults. Alex just recently was accepted to a great school, and I was so happy because, yeah, could you say, yeah, were you accepted?
I was accepted to it, and I'm planning to attend Stanford University.
Thank you. Now here's another token, because I see the mother and family. But each one of you, you don't have to go to Stanford. Even you get a job training. If you have a great job at Stater Brothers, as one of our Don Lugo students did, I get excited. It's not about equal rights all the time. It's about equal opportunities, yes. But what are you going to become? Who are you going to be? Let's think and grow. At the same time, you'll teach us, our adults. Thank you. I now adjourn the regular meeting of the Board of Education at 9:20. Thank you.